Hi, I'm Chef Becky Yim. I'm here at Tucson Village Farm Angels Charity for Children Culinary Education Center. I'm here with
I'm Paola Gonzalez, and we work for the University of Arizona Cooperative Extension. And I work for the EFNEP program, which is a program that teaches community nutrition throughout Pima County to youth and adults and a lot of other populations too.
and today we're going to be teaching you a bunch of fabulous recipes, and we can't wait to get started. Hi, I'm Chef Becky Yim, and we are here to make a fair favorite a little bit more healthy. So we talk about sometimes food, and so today we are going to make baked churros. So this is one of our favorite recipes. It is so fun to make. It takes a little bit of time and an amazing culinary pastry technique so that you can apply to many other things. So it's called a pat a choux dough. So you can remember it by pat a choux. I'm not actually going to pat my shoe because then I have to wash my hands, but it's a great way to remember it. So pat a choux dough. If you think of an eclair or some of the donuts or churros, it's all the same dough. So it's a technique, and I'll try to remember to tell you about that as we go, but it is the same technique, and you just stuff it or coat it with different things. So now you know how to make 3 different dishes with this one dough. It's really cool. So, and we are going to make it a little healthier. We are going to bake it. We are going to we're going to do half whole wheat flour and half regular flour. You're going to know that it has eggs in it. We have substituted out the milk for some water to cut down on some of the fat. And, you know, when you get it at some of the stores or at the fair, your churros are like this long and they're so good. You're like, and you eat them all. But we can make them whatever size we want and we can share them. So we're going to make them a little bit smaller and we're going to enjoy them. And we're going to be making them with our family and our friends, and we're going to share, and we're going to be talking and working, and we're going to be washing dishes. So anyways, it's just a lot of fun, and we're going to love it, and we're going to be doing it together, and it's a sometimes food. So with that, let's get to work, and let's start cooking. So as you can see, I've gathered all my ingredients, and I've put them in the order in which I'm going to be using them, which I always find really helpful to go through the recipe and then put them in order, and I can check back and forth and make sure I understand exactly what I'm doing. So I have this burner here on top of my stove. Whole another story for another day, but that's what I have. I'm going to turn it on, and we are going to get to work. So it is a little odd. It is an induction burner, which is a cool new scientific, it's new for the United States pretty much. It works by magnets. So the metal in the pan stimulates the magnet in the burner and magic happens, heat happens. So it's new. I'm getting used to it too. And it heats up really fast. So what you have at home might take a little bit longer if you're cooking alongside it with us. And as I said, I'm getting used to it too. So just give me a minute. Okay. So the first thing is we're going to take our butter and we're going to add it to our pan. And I like to start melting it a little bit. Okay. So I moved everything, but now I know the technique. So I'm going to remember, right? So what's interesting about the pâte à choux dough is I'm going to melt my butter, and then I'm going to add my sugar and my salt. And then I add my water.
While you whisk away, Chef Becky, I see that you had everything in place and all measured out. Can you remind us what that's called?
Oh, yeah. So I love languages, sorry. So I'm a little bit of a geek. It's called mise en place.
Mise en place.
So it means everything in its place. So pâte à choux was a French word, and mise en place is a French word. So that's why I was chuckling. So
cool,
sorry.
You.
It makes me, I don't know. I think it's funny. Yes, mise en place. So yeah, I love it. It really keeps me sane. It makes, as I think I was saying it, I get to match the recipe with what I have, and I put it in the order in which I'm going to use it. And so it helps me be able to talk and look and see and get distracted and then come back and focus and be able to do exactly what I need to do. So mise en place. So I'm making sure my butter is melted. My sugar is dissolving. Okay. I love these spatulas. They're heat proof. There are some spatulas that aren't, so be careful because sometimes they can melt and you don't want that. Okay, I'm feeling the bottom of my pan to make sure my sugar is melted. I don't want to feel any grains down there. And now I'm going to add my flour, and this is where the magic happens. So flour's flour, and it's going to turn, and it's going to go through a gelatinization period, which gelatin is, what does that sound like?
Well, to me, that sounds like Jello.
Yeah. So I know we've been talking about today, if you've been watching some of our other videos, is things going from opaque to clear. And so flour does that too. It goes from opaque, like we just poured in there, and through the gelatinization period, it gets clear. And so that's what we're going to be doing. I'm going to switch to this saucinator. Isn't that fun? I like it. It is a whisk, but it's flat bottomed. And this is a nonstick pan, so I like it because it's also, it's good on the nonstick. It's plastic coated, so it works. So I'm going to cook it over a medium heat, and I'm going to stir it, and I'm going to cook it until it absorbs the liquid, starts pulling away from the sides of the pan, and you'll see the color of the flour becomes a little clearer because it's going through that gelatinization period. So the other thing that the friction of the stirring does is it dissolves the lumps of flour as well. So that's kind of cool. So this is what it looks like now.
Chef Becky, do you have to keep stirring while it goes through that gelatinous phase? Or what was the word again?
Yeah. Gelatinous. Yeah. Gelatinization is a verb. Is that a verb? That's a noun. Gelatinization. Gelatinization. Okay, so now look at it. So now it's starting to pull away. You see it's streaking. So I didn't answer your question, Paola. I'm sorry. So there's I would say yes. If it's new to you, definitely do it. Because it's flour, it's going to have a tendency to stick to the bottom of your pan, and you don't want to burn it. I'm impatient. I want to eat them, so I figure if I stir it more, it's going to happen faster. I just really want to watch it. It's fun. Like that period when it pulls away from the pan is just cool. So, so can you see, can you see it from there? Look at that. Look at that. It's magic. Look at that. Look. Sorry. It's like, why wouldn't you want to be stirring that all the time to see when the magic happens? And you can see it's like getting slick and kind of clear and just cool. I don't know. So this is like the pas de choux process. So, so what and you're doing it because you want that flour cooked. You don't want that raw flour flavor. And so I don't know what you're doing. So this is also similar to anyways, maybe I'm talking too much, but if you were to you're going to go over to the savory side or the not sweet side, this would be similar to a roux as well, another French word, which would make a thick soup. So especially used in New Orleans cooking, Louisiana cooking, French cooking again, but thicker soups. So like a bisque or gumbo. So again, anyways, those French, they've figured stuff out.
That's so crazy that different foods that have different endings can start almost in the same place.
Uh-huh. They're called the mother sauces. So if you look at the savory side, they're mother sauces. And so there's 5 of them. And this one roux makes 2 sauces. So a bechamel and a velouté. And then each one of those sauces makes hundreds of different sauces. It's a family tree.
Wow.
And then there's this side branch of pastry too. So it's pretty cool. So yeah, I really should be working harder and not talking to you. So it's a great break. because what am I doing? I told you, like, it's a sometimes food because I could walk up to the guy at the fair and say, give me a churro. Or I could be sitting here like I really am like sweating a little bit.
So it looks like you're building some good muscles there.
I'm burning some calories, I'm sure. So this is what you want. So it's a little, you can see it's clear, it's gelatinous, it's totally pulled away from the sides, it's cooked. I'm gonna turn my power off there. And look at that, it smells good. Yum, 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 yum. Okay, I'm gonna get all that goodness off my saucinator. They are super cool. I've had one for probably 30 years, same one. So chef I worked for in San Francisco created it and he gave me one and I just have not, I've just used it ever since. So I've carried it with me to many cities and I've loved it. So I found this one and loved it. So, okay, cleaning my station. And this next step is a tricky step. So this is where it diverges from the savory world. So we're gonna add some eggs. So let's see. So I've rinsed my eggs off. These eggs are from our farm, from real chickens. And I like to crack them on the counter. I've just changed the way I've done this. I like to crack them on the counter because I get a more even crack and the shell doesn't go into the egg, which I just kind of came to that conclusion that I think that's a little safer because the outside of the egg, you know, is exposed to some contaminants that could possibly contaminate the inside of the egg. So anyways, I just thought that was interesting. So I'm gonna go wash my hands because I just touched the egg. I'll be right back. Okay, so now this next step it has another technique. Okay, so we're gonna whisk our eggs. We're gonna add our vanilla. Okay, put that to the side, compost our eggs. And now we are gonna temper our eggs. So by tempering, we wanna bring up the temperature of the eggs. So we wanna warm them gently because if we were to add them immediately to our hot flour mixture, they would scramble. And we don't want that. We want to use the thickening properties of the egg to help bind our dough. Okay? So we want to slowly warm them up, to wake them up. Say, yes, yes.
So Chef Becky, are you using any heat or are you just stirring them to heat them up?
Oh, I added a little bit of our flour dough to the egg mixture.
Oh, I see. So you're heating up your eggs slowly by adding a little bit of flour at a time?
Yes, the warm flour mixture. So we don't shock it. It's like the old adage that if you put a frog in
the boiling
water pot and turn it up slowly, it doesn't know. Kind of a sick culinary thing, but because we do eat frogs. The French eat their frogs. In the French world of cooking, I don't know. God.
So I see, Chef Becky, you're just adding a little bit at a time.
I'm adding a little bit at a time. I'm also trying to it's kind of clumpy, so I'm trying to get the clumps out too. I'm thinking about why it's clumpy. But yeah, so once it's warm, so I feel the bottom of the bowl, it's no longer ice cold. So now, I'm gonna feel that. That's cooled down a little bit. I have one more scoop. So I probably added about a cup of, I think I'm gonna need that. I've added about a cup. Slowly I've added about a cup of the mixture. And now I can just add it all in, I think. Now it's safe. It's happy. Now I'm not going to get scrambled eggs. I'm going to get a churro. Okay, so again, I'm using my muscles, all right? I'm kind of doing my bowl like this and my whisk like that. It's nice and thick. Okay. It's making a lot of noise. So what ingredients do I have in here? Let me recollect. What do you guys remember? let's see, I put some butter and water and flour and yeah, 2 types of flour. So we tried to make it a little healthier with some whole wheat flour and regular flour, some brown sugar, vanilla, 3 eggs.
Yeah, and I think based on what you're gonna probably do next, right? So usually churros, are they fried?
Generally, yeah.
Oh, but we're gonna bake them instead of frying them, right? So when we fry things, we add things into really, really hot oil, right? And they get all full of oil. But this time we're just going to bake them. So
Yep.
that's not gonna happen.
I know. So we're going to cut all those calories out, right?
Ooh, okay, perfect.
yeah.
So that's how we make it a little bit healthier too,
A
huh?
lot healthier, right? So, yep. Okay. So there's 2 ways. Like what you would see in a French pastry shop would be using a pastry tip and a star tip and a pastry bag. So we can see how that works if you want. If you have these, it's great. You put the pastry tip in, you trim it, and there you go. Or, so let's do a couple like that maybe. So, and whenever you fill a pastry bag, if you have one, you make a cuff and you hold it there. And then you put your dough in. Try to get it all the way down. And you can fold it up. And press it down. Okay, we'll just do a couple like that. Oops. Okay, and then let's pull it over here. Okay, can you see? Okay, and then you can make them whatever size you want. Okay, so you're gonna go like that. Okay, okay, you can make a star, or sorry, a heart. Whatever you choose to do, you want to kind of do them similar sizes so that they cook at the same time. So I probably shouldn't have done that, but I did. So we'll see how that, it's a good experiment. Okay. Now, if you don't have a pastry bag, which I generally don't have at my house, but I just wanted to show you, you can use a plastic bag. So here's a good cheat. So I am going to make a cuff again. Can you see well? I'm kind of flinking this all over the place. So you're going to make a cuff. I'm going to kind of think about the pastry bag I did, that same technique. I'm going to point the tip down because the closer I can get my dough to the bottom of the bag, the less dough I have all over, the more churros I get. Does that make sense? Okay. The other thing I'm going to do before I start filling is I'm going to clean my bowl so I can not, so hopefully I won't have to put my bag down to get all that goodness out of my bowl. Okay. So sometimes it helps to have a friend too, but there's the mask thing right now. So I'm going to try to do this one-handed. Okay, so I just put my spatula in there. I grab my spatula and I'm going to use my other hand to take the goodness off of my spatula. So I'm going to aim it back down there, pull, aim it back down, pull, adjust. Okay. You can make many of these bags, so you could all have your own sheet tray if you're making this with some family or friends, right? Okay, so see, it's looking like that pastry bag technique.
Becky, I also noticed that there is a paper on top of your tray, on
Mhm.
your baking tray. So what is that for?
That is to make cleanup a lot easier. It's called parchment paper. You don't have to have it, but if you have it, it makes life a little easier. So you can use wax paper, parchment paper. It just protects your sheet pan and again, makes it a lot easier to clean. So less scrubbing. So I should have done it this way. So I'm going to close this end up here. I'm going to leave a hole. At the top. And then I think I did a pretty good job. There's not too much all over the place. But before I start, I'm going to lay it down and I'm going to use my flat end of my hand and I'm going to push it. So I start with kind of a fresh palette, as I call it. Okay, and I'm going to fold it into itself. Okay.
Wow, so you squished it kind of like when we have a little bit of toothpaste left in the tube and you just kind of squish it all towards the end there.
Exactly. And see, it looked just like this. So that's why I started with this. So you can see how you can make do with whatever you have. Okay, so I heard about this and we'll see. I'm just gonna experiment. So what I heard was that you could make a star tip out of a bag. And so I'm thinking about this and let's see, how could we do it? So I'm gonna, maybe this will work, maybe not. So anyways, I'm just making a jiggity jag thing here. Probably my scissors are too big. So we'll see what that looks like. Anyways, you cut across and the higher up your bag goes, the bigger your cut will be, okay? So I'm twisting at the top and you probably can't see this very well. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm squeezing with this hand and squeezing with this hand. So I'm making sure with this hand that the dough doesn't fall down into the bottom of the bag. I think, Paola, your example of a toothpaste tube is fantastic. I think we all have experience with that. And so that's exactly what I'm thinking about, because I want as much dough to come out of my bag. So I have as many churros as I can eat and share. So, because that was a lot of work with that dough. Okay, so, and then, so as I finish, I just kind of touch down. Your example of toothpaste is ingenious. I have never used that before. I love that. So we all brush our teeth, and we will all brush our teeth after we eat these. So every time I brush my teeth now, I think churros. Okay, so you can do these, you can do longer, you can do shorter, you can do fatter, you can do skinnier. Just try to keep them similar in shape and distance so that they all.
As you keep squishing, I do have a question that's not directly related to the churros, but I know that you're a chef, but I've also heard that there's something called a sous chef. What is that?
Again, French.
Yeah, lots of French today.
You know, I'm going to sidetrack for a second. I ended up taking French because I couldn't spell the word beautiful. And I got tired of looking it up in the dictionary because I am that old that we had dictionaries. There was no Google that I could just do BEA and it would pop up. So anyways, I took French so I could learn how to spell beautiful. Sous chef. So sous means under. So it's under chef. So you work your way up to a sous chef to a chef. So call it, like, if you go into a restaurant, particularly it's changing and it's changing rapidly, but it's a brigade system and it functioned much like a military, and you started at one level and then you worked your way up, and it was very regimented, and there was, you know, different levels and you had to do different things to get to different levels. So it's changed a lot, I think. But yeah, the sous chef was under the chef and very respected position. So yeah. So again, great French word. We love it. I love knowing lots of languages. I think it's one of my joys in life. So let's see, maybe I can get one more in. Yep, that's a funny looking one. Okay, there we go. So one thing I should have mentioned, and maybe we can tag it in the beginning, is preheat your oven to 400 degrees. So if you haven't done that, those can sit for a little bit. But we are going to preheat our oven to 400 and we're going to bake them. So I'm going to put them in now. And what's important about these is we're going to bake them for, I think we're going to bake these because they're a little smaller, for about 12 minutes. And then we're going to turn off the oven and we're not going to open it. Okay, so what we're doing is we're searing the outside and it's going to puff up. It's like magic. So those egg yolks are going to release some steam and they're going to puff. Oh, it's like a popover too, is the other pâte à choux dough. So anyways, the eggs are going to puff up and then they're going to create a structure, but they need to harden. The dough needs to dry out and harden. Otherwise, they're going to collapse and get too soggy. So we're going to have to trust that they're done and let them harden in that hot oven. So here they go. You're gonna put them in a middle rack, on the middle rack.
So
Okay.
if you open your oven,
Mhm.
what happens?
Well, you're gonna let some temperature out. You're gonna let some heat out. You're gonna let some heat out, and it might have a harder time drying out.
Oh, I
So.
see. So you change the temperature inside the oven, right? Every time you open the door?
Yeah. So if you're lucky and have a glass, then you can see their coloring. I'm glad you asked that question too, though, because one way I know when they're done is I start to smell them. So that gives you a clue. So I said 12 minutes, and I might have to peek. But my first will be I'll be smelling. And I got a super sniffer. But as soon as I start smelling, then I'll be like, that'll give me I won't open it until I can smell it for sure. And I'll probably wait. Once I start smelling, I'll wait probably 2 minutes, and then I'll do a quick peek and just check. And then I'll wait. So that's my tip for you. Okay? So stay tuned. We'll be back. Oh, hi. 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 I smell the churros, and I've waited. So I think they're ready. Let's go take a look. Oh, steamy, steamy, steamy. Look at these guys. Oh, they look so yummy. Can you see? Oh, my heart looks so cute. Oh, so it looks like we could have used a little bit more distance. I closed my oven right away. Oh, you know what? Yeah, they look perfect. Okay, so I have my cinnamon sugar ready. So a little sugar, a little salt, and a little, did I say that? A little sugar, a little cinnamon, and a little salt. That's all. Okay, and we're gonna take them piping hot, and we're gonna toss them around. That's it.
And you can hear that they're kind of crunchy, right? So that tells you that they're definitely ready.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So aren't they cute?
They're so cute.
And I was just looking back, like you really can't tell the difference between, so here's the heart one. So you can see that one. You really can't tell the difference between the one with the piping, fancy star tip and the ones we did. So I think that's cool. You don't need that fancy stuff. Okay, and here we go. Oh, hot from the oven. I like putting the sugar on hot from the oven so that the sugar kind of melts into them. Okay, so toss, toss, toss. Yum, yum, yum. There you go. Oh, I can't wait to try them. Can I try one? I'm going to try one. Careful, they're hot. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thank you for joining us today. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification bell icon to see our upcoming videos. You can also follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/communitynutrition.U of A. And you can also find us on Twitter and Instagram at UA_EFNEP. If you want to get in touch with us, you can email us at communitynutrition.uofa@gmail.com. See you later.